Kings Mountain Gateway Trail today. We have a train going by. I'm at the trailhead. Lots of flowers, and there's a little picnic area. Good start for the trail. It's nice they have a bathroom. Always a good way to start a hike. So there's 2 trails I'm putting together today. One is about 10 miles. And it's an out and back. We'll cross over 85 and continue through, and we'll finish at a road that's just down the street from Kings Mountain National Military Park, the state park, and then also Crowder's Mountain State Park. You could walk your way through to those, but we're gonna be then turning around and heading back this way. The other trail I'm doing today is Cardio Hill, I think they call it. So it is like a little loop. It's about 2.5 miles, and you kind of circle around a little peak and end at the peak, and you're able to look out. So that's my plan for today. Nice to get out here. There's a little bit of variety with the trail terrain. We start out with paved. I believe, can't remember, the Cardio Hill might have more paving, or it turns to gravel. But for the other one, we quickly turn to, it's just the Gateway Trail, and that one turns to graveled or dirt. So have some exercise stations along this section. And it's a beautiful day to be out here. So I'm going to first take a little trip up Plateau Loop Trail. So that'll just be a little loop up at the top, and it has a butterfly garden up at the top there. It'll be fun. I have a butterfly greeting us. They call this the Butterfly Highway on that sign. That's a beautiful butterfly. I love these flowers, multiple colors. Good variety of flowers and colors. Beautiful. I have one flower still trying to grow on that tree, or bush. These are interesting. So pretty. I like the flowers as much as the butterflies, but for different reasons. I'm now spiraling up Cardio Hill. Butterflies are fun. We should have maybe there'll be some butterflies. I see some little guys flying around the sides, but at the top of this one there should be a view down to see the lake. So they have an informational sign right here about the city of Kings Mountain. You can't really see anything of the city, but pretty view out there. It'll be really beautiful once the leaves are really changing color. So they have a lot of information about the geology and the history of the area. So it's really neat to stop and take the time to read it. And that's basically in this area where we have the Cardio Hill and Plateau Trail and the other section that all connects through to make the 2.5 miles. So that means it's not a long trail. It's a good reason to take some time to read. You can see the lake through there a little bit. And there's a trail I came up on. So the gateway portion of the trail, that is the 10 miles, doesn't really have much information, and it's a unique trail because it kind of just takes you through what this area is like. So I'll walk by some residential areas, some farmland, some businesses. I haven't been on this trail for a little while, but there used to be a drive-in theater, so it kind of took me back in time looking at that. And then we'll also be walking through just some woods, and as I mentioned, we'll be going over the highway, so it's just a little taste of Kings Mountain, it seems. I spent the better part of the day at a farm with foster families today. So it was nice to see all the families getting together. Sometimes we do respite events where the parents are dropping off the kids so that they get a little break. But this was a whole family event, and so it was fun to see them all together, and we were able to support them and still give the foster parents a little bit of a break by doing more of the playing with the kids. But the weather was beautiful for it, and they were all really grateful for the opportunity to take the kids to the farm to do a lot of those typical fall farm activities, because it's so expensive to do that. So it's really cool when families are interested and are able to expose their kids to a lot of different things and give them a lot of different experiences. Plenty of these kids have had a lot of experiences and been exposed to a lot, but not in a good way. And so being able to give them this kind of opportunity is awesome. And they all had a blast. Really cool. Almost stepped right on this little guy. He's so still. Just hanging out. You sit there, buddy. I'm gonna walk around you. It's hard to see him when they're so thin. Even though he was a different color, he still kind of blended in with the ground. I have the tendency to be really hard on myself as a mom. I have a tendency to be hard on myself all around, but definitely as a mom it's hard because I put so much effort into doing my best, and so when I feel discouraged or like I did something wrong or not good enough, that's really hard hit. But this week I was really encouraged, and it was good timing because it was a really rough week last week, and especially Monday this week at work with those kids, and I was feeling like I wasn't getting through to them, and it was just feeling miserable. And then I had a meeting at Cadence High School, and then also with his college for planning purposes, and kind of an update on how he's doing because of his unique needs and situation. And they were so positive and impressed with how he's doing all around. And when I take a minute to allow myself to really think through some of the things that they're saying and how he's actually doing, I am able to recognize that. And one of the comments they said in a couple different ways was that he's essentially he's very well rounded. He's exposed to a lot of things. He understands a lot of things. He's figuring out a lot. He's able to make those connections with the world that he may not be quite familiar with, but he's able to figure it out. A little crossing here. Lots of trees down over on that side. It's pretty though. I have been very intentional about that, especially since he was homeschooled and an only child. And unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of family close by, so we had alternatives of how to be close or spend time with them. And I'm grateful for all of those opportunities that I was able to work in for him and his development. So I need to remind myself of that a little bit more. Things aren't always perfect, but they're not supposed to be. That's what growing up is all about, and living life is all about. But when we spoke with the college, it was awesome because one of my goals with his education has been to prepare him so that he'd have a lot of options. Because at a young age, doing the more advanced stuff, you don't have any clue really where you really are going to want to go. Even high schoolers don't really know where they're going to want to go. Often they end up somewhere else. But each time something has come up academically, he's always been approved for it because he is prepared for it, and he's had the experience that he would need as a prereq or whatever it was required. There's another lake down there. Hard to tell. I'm walking parallel to 85 right now. So I'm going essentially 85 north right now. One of the cool things about this trail when Caden was younger was simply that we would drive under the trail crossing, and he was excited to remember the multiple times he's been out here. So that was cool. And I remember one time in particular, he has always loved the Seek app to identify things in nature, and we spent forever on this trail one time identifying as many things as we could find. So of course, neither of us, but especially myself, could not remember all of those things. But each time we seek the same thing, kind of solidifies a little bit more in our minds, I guess. And being able to relate some of the different, especially plants, animals are a little harder to capture, but the plants, being able to see that they're coming from the same family, or all the genus, all the different classifications, since it goes through all that. Love the variety of plants out here. A lot of kudzu growth too. Reminds you you're in the south. Alright, this guy's a little hard to see, but he is impressive. Don't think he's a friendly spider. The color makes me want to stay away from him, but pretty cool web. So I try to bring the real world into the classroom as much as I can for my students. I've always thought that was one of the most important things, most valuable things a teacher can do, especially when teaching in schools in areas of lower income and less family involvement. So when I taught elementary school, it was fun to do things like bring all the ingredients in and let them make bread, because most of them would never have the opportunity to do that at home. Or applying for grants to be able to take them on some field trips, because they're not going to be able to go otherwise, so that way they can get out and see things that they're learning about in the real world. With my 7th graders now in math, it's been fun to teach them about percent increase or decrease with markups or discounts and interest rates, and how all of the taxes, all of that stuff coming together, because it's actually going to be applicable to them in real life when they're older. And I think it's so cool because many of these students know that their families haven't done what is necessarily best for them as kids, and haven't been responsible. And so when talking about hopes and dreams and plans for the future, one of the first things that comes from a lot of the kids will be that they want to have a stable job that pays enough to be able to take care of their family. And learning skills like these are going to help them be successful in life. So they've actually been getting really into it, especially when you're talking about things like buying a car or something like that, because that's what they're going to get real excited about. Or they are like chip fiends. Talk about buying chips at the store, and just simple idea of how much tax is. And some of them didn't understand why the chips would be marked for, say, $8, but they knew they had to bring about $9 to pay for them, but didn't really understand why. So it's cool that they're learning some of those whys about the world around them. This is definitely the flattest part of the trail. You can see signs of beavers. I've chewed through some of those. It's interesting because on one side we have water. It's not really moving, but it's the ground level is much higher. And then on the other side, down through the trees, it goes down significantly, and we have a lake down there. That is a nice little change from the rest of the trail. There's a lot of steep up and downhill, so this flat section is welcomed. got to the end. I'm on my way back now. The water that was on the side of the trail is dried up in this section. Didn't go all the way down, but we'll come back to it shortly. We can see the lake down there a little bit better. Not a fantastic view with all the leaves, but that's a good thing. There's some color change in some of those leaves now. That's pretty. A little red and yellow. Oh, that's why I didn't notice that on the way down. There's essentially a dam built there, so that's why the water doesn't really continue. One of the things that I really appreciate about Caleb, and why I think we really enjoy spending a lot of time together, is because we both enjoy doing a lot of things. And I'd say neither of us are the best at any one thing, because we don't devote all of our time to any one thing. But we like to get out there and have a lot of different experiences. So being able to share those with each other has been really nice. Parts of this is a lot more like a wetland area. Some of the trees may not be that happy about it, but some of the plants are. I was pretty impressed by the amount of damage to the trees in this one particular section going the other way. I can't believe how many trees are down, and I don't know why it's just right here, because on either side of this section there's a lot of trees up still, but for whatever reason these all came down and took each other with it, I guess. But very much has the look of devastation after a storm. It just is weird. Oh, there's a cardinal flying back there. Hey, it's hard to see because he's so far away, but the color's awesome. So bright. But then to come up to the next section and see minimal damage, it seems odd. Not sure what happened. So we can still hear, well, I can still hear the traffic from the road in the distance, but it is so much more peaceful out here. I think especially after walking along the road and then crossing over it, it quickly dissipated, and it was a lot more peaceful. So I went to the end of this trail where it does go out to a road, but it's one of the small roads. Oh, that's a beautiful butterfly. Oh, he has some holes in his wings. That's not good. So we don't really have any traffic noise from the other road. Lots of lily pads in this section, and it's much wider. Been hearing a lot of birds and bugs. I definitely feel like I'm out in nature a little bit today. I don't know why, but those rocks look really pretty to me with the ivy growing on them. That is some really thick bamboo growing out there. Wow. has been a beautiful day for a hike with a wonderful mix of sun and clouds and shade. This is a good trail, and you could always turn around if you didn't want to do the whole thing. And just the shorter little parts at the beginning are good to visit as well. So I hope you get out and experience something, either that you love or something that's new. Share it with somebody else. And I will see you next time on the trail with Heart.